All right, moving forward, we are going to draw two different basic styles of chairs, and we're going to learn how to arrange them quickly and efficiently around one of these tables. So I'm going to work with the square table. So I'm going to take my handy dandy green selection box, highlight the ones I don't want, and delete them from existence. Okay, so we want some chairs to go around this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see. Here's a table. All right, we're going to make 1'6" by 1'6" seat. That's where your bum goes when you're sitting on the chair. So I'm going to take a rectangle and I'm going to click to specify the first point. And since I know what dimensions I want to use, I'm going to go ahead and type D for dimension. 1'6", enter. 1'6", enter. And there is a very nice seat with very sharp corners, but that's okay. We're going to change that. But don't forget that it wants you to try and put this in a quadrant. So I'm just going to click. Now I want to put a back for my chair. And I'm going to use another rectangle. I'm going to start it in this top right-hand corner, drag it down, and again, D for dimensions. I'm going to make my back about 2 inches thick. So I'm going to type 2, enter, and then 1'6" again. Click to place it, and it is complete. That is, if you have any doubt of how to draw a chair and floor plan, this is the most basic floor plan chair that you can draw. I'm going to highlight it so that you can see it a little bit better. All right, so like I said, these are pretty sharp corners. Maybe we should round those out a little bit. Does anybody remember how to do that? I hope you do, because you just watched the video. It's fillet. So I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to hit fillet. I'm going to type R for radius and make sure that it's still set to 3 inches, which it is. All right, select the first object, and there we go. I'm going to hit spacebar, select the object again, and there I have a nice rounded chair. My leg won't get cut when I sit on it, and we're good to go. So this one is an armless chair, okay? All right, now if I look at this chair, it's actually in 2 parts. And I would love to just be able to move this chair all together. So the command that we use for that is called blocking. And I can just type blocking or block, enter, and I get this window that pops up. Blocking is kind of like super gluing all the pieces together. So I'm going to name this chair 1. Always name it for what the object actually is. I always put a number because you just never know. You might need to use more than one type of chair in your project. So chair 1. Super easy for anybody to understand. What it's going to ask next is for a base point. And a base point is one of those little grips that when you select the object, the grip will show up and then you can move it around. So that's super handy, right? I'm going to specify on screen. No, I'm going to pick a point. I always put a base point on the center of my furniture, and I also place it on the back side of the furniture because most furniture, if you think about it, the back goes to the wall. So it makes it easier to place furniture against a wall. All right, the next thing it wants me to do is select object. So this means what line work do you actually want it to have? So I'm going to hit select objects. I'm going to click that rectangle, and I'm going to click this one. Hit enter to say I'm done selecting, and now we're back. Honestly, that's all I'm going to do. I don't worry about any of the other settings. It's a pretty simple process to glue things together, and I'm going to click OK. So now when I click on the chair, you will see that it highlights all of the parts, and I have this cute little grip that will allow me to move it as I need to. Woohoo! Okay, so we got one chair. Let's place it at the table. Now, you're going to find that interior designers like to be perfect in everything that they do. So I want to place this chair centered to the top half of the table. So I might have to draw a couple lines first to help me establish where the center is on this particular table. So I'm going to show you my method. You might have a different method that works for you. There's no right way or wrong way to do this, but this is just how I go about finding centers of things. So first I'm going to divide the table in half. So I'm drawing a temporary line right down the middle. I'm going to hit enter. So now I've established where half is right here. Now I did that because I had O-snaps turned onto midpoint. So if your O-snaps are not checked at midpoint, that's going to be a pretty hard task for you to do. Okay, so now I need to find the center of this right here. So the easiest way to do that is kind of to do the same thing. Find the center, go across, and then find the center of that line and mark it right there. Excellent. So right here is where the center of that side of the table is located. So I'm going to grab this chair and I'm going to use this little grip and I'm going to put it here, and then I'm just going to pull it back just like it's about to go underneath the table. A lot of times you're going to find on floor plans that we want to show the furniture out from the table so that we can show the adequate clearance that is needed for the chair and for somebody to stand behind the chair itself. Okay, so with that chair placed, I am going to select these lines and delete them. Okay, so now I want a chair over here on this side, right? Do I have to redraw it all over again? I sure hope not. But there's easy ways to go about doing this. I'm going to show you two ways to do this. So the first one is going to be to use the copy command. Copy is a really great way to create a clone of an object. That's the best way that I can describe it. So copy is located up here in the modify panel right under move. Copy, and then it says select the object. And then it continues to say select object until you tell AutoCAD that you're done selecting objects by hitting enter on the keyboard. Now it's asking for you to specify a base point. So again, the base point is located at the center of your cursor, and wherever you click, that is how the object will attach. I could click here and move a copy. And look at that, I've cloned one. Hit escape to end this command if you need to. And there I've got a beautiful chair cloned and copied. The problem is I don't know if this is directly centered on this half of the table. So I could draw the lines again and center it, but I'm going to show you a better method than even just copying it. But I wanted to show you copy because it was an important command. I'm going to delete that one, and I'm going to show you what's known as the mirror command, which is also a copying type of command. I'm going to click on the chair and I'm going to click mirror. Specify first point of the mirror line. Okay, so this is where you got to kind of think and pretend whatever line that you end up drawing is like a mirror. It's going to copy whatever you have on the other side of the mirror perfectly. I want it to be centered down here, and I can do that because I know that this one is centered up here. So all I have to do is find the center of the table because my O-snap midpoint is checked. I'm going to click and draw a line, and you can see how it ghosts a chair. No matter where I put my line, it makes a copy and it places it exactly the same distance away from the mirror as the previous chair was. And all I have to do, I can draw just a baby line, I could do a mommy line, a daddy line, I could do a grandpa line. Is that kind of like the Baby Shark song? Little line, do 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 do, little. Okay, shut up. All right, so all I have to do is just draw a little line. Hit click to end it, and then it says, do you want to erase the source object? No, actually I don't this time, but sometimes you might want to. So I'm going to click no, and there it's placed that chair perfectly. Let's practice mirror again by putting these chairs over on this side. So I'm going to use my selection box to grab both chairs, mirror command, and I want to place it perfectly on the same side. I want it to be exactly the same, so I always choose the midpoint when I want to do that. Midpoint of the object I'm trying to mirror. That's a lot of terminology and stuff, I'm sorry, but I hope that this is making sense when you're watching it happen on the video. All right, I'm going to click and I can do baby line doot doot doot. I can do mama line doot doot doot. However long or short you want your line to be. And again, see how it kind of mirrors depending on which direction your line goes. Just click. Do you want to erase? No, I do not. And there we go. Isn't that lovely? All right, so I got 4 chairs at my table. Now what I want to do, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. I want to put a head chair here and a head chair here, and this one's going to have arms, right? Well, let's basically copy what we did here. We're going to redraw it because you need some practice. So rectangle, start it. Next step is what? D for dimension. Good job. 1'6" and 1'6" are the dimensions for the seat where your bum go. All right, we got to do the back. Click rectangle. I'm going to start the rectangle right here in this corner. I can draw the rectangle however I want to because I typed D for dimensions, 2 inches, 1'6", enter. Click to place that rectangle, and now we've got our chair that we had. This time I'm going to do arms. And those are going to be located kind of like half over the edge lines right here. So I'm going to click on rectangle, and I'm actually just going to draw them right over here. So let's do D for dimension. I'm going to do 2 inches again. And I'm going to do, let's say 9 inches. That looks like a pretty decent arm right there. All right, so I want this arm to go right here, but gosh darn, we got it oriented wrong, right? Well, I'm going to show you the rotate command because that's going to be a lifesaver for you in many instances. So rotate is located right next to move up in the modify panel, and if I click rotate, it does want you to select objects. I'm going to select the arm I just created. Hit enter to tell AutoCAD that you're done selecting. Find a base point. So the base point is the point at which this object is going to rotate around, and it's always based on the center of your cursor. So wherever you click your cursor now, that's going to be the point that it rotates. So I'm going to click on the corner of this little object right here, click, and then I'm going to move straight down. And that will give me the object snap line. You can see the little tracking line right there, which is great. It tells me I'm going perfectly straight. But notice that you can rotate it in a circle if you need to, in any direction. You can even specify what angle you want it to be. But I just like going straight down. And you'll get the hang of how this works as you start practicing with it. Just click to finish, and you've rotated your object. Want to do that again? Let's Control Z. This time I'm going to click my object first and then do rotate, so either way works. Specify your base point. This time I'm just going to show you what it looks like when I'm randomly off of the object. Click, and see how it rotates with the same spacing as where the center of your cursor was before. I'm still going in the same direction, it's just rotating it at a different place. Now, I want to place this right over here. Anybody remember how to move it over? If you said the move command, you got it right. So I'm going to grab this move command. I know you guys remember this. Now I want it to be centered like on the back right here on this corner. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so that I can see what I'm doing. Again, always zoom. There's no need to be working way out here. Zoom in. Your eyes are precious. All right, midpoint. I clicked so it connects to my cursor, and now I can place it exactly where I want to. Click. Right there. So there I have an arm. Now I want to place this arm over on this side. I could do copy, I could do mirror. It really doesn't matter. Let's do copy because we haven't practiced that one as much as we did mirror. So I'm going to grab this object that I want to copy. I'm going to use the copy command, and then it says base point. Well, I want it to look the same down here. So again, I'm going to grab it from the midpoint and see how it grabbed that particular object and cloned it. then I can place the clone right down there and hit escape to end the command. Now I have arms on the chair placed exactly as I want to. The only problem that we have right now is that there's a line in the box, and we never show what's underneath things in AutoCAD plan view. So we do want to cut it out so that it looks like we're actually looking down on the chair. There's no X-ray vision, in other words. So trim, remember trim? Trim button. Select the object to trim. And what's so great about trim nowadays is that you can just click on that thing that you want to trim. Remember, it has to be intersected in order to be trimmed. But we can just cut it right out and hit enter or escape and you're done trimming. So there's our chair, and it's beautiful. But again, it's in many parts. So what do we type to get it all glued back together? Block, B-L-O-C-K, enter. Now name it chair 2. See why you start naming them according to numbers and words? We're going to specify a base point. Again, we're going to put that base point on the middle back of that object. And we also have to tell AutoCAD which objects need to be blocked together. I'm just going to use my green selection box to make sure everything gets highlighted. It's beautiful. Hit enter, and that's all there is to it. Click OK. Now when I grab it, you can see that everything grabs together. I've got this beautiful little grip right here that helps me move it into place. Now the problem is I need to rotate it, right? So let's practice rotate one more time. I've got the object selected, rotate. You can grab it anywhere. It really honestly does not matter where you grab it from. I like to grab it from the back middle, and I'm going to move straight up. Make sure you get that tracking line going. Straight up. Gorgeous. Now it's facing the correct direction. And now I'm going to center it with the grip onto the midpoint of the table because I know that that is the center. And then I just pull it back a little bit. And there we've got a chair at the head of the table. Alright, so what do we do if we want one down here? What's the easiest way to do this? The mirror command is going to be the easiest because not only is it going to place the object down here, it's going to flip it so that the front of the chair is facing right here. If we copied it, we'd have to rotate it again. So part of using AutoCAD is learning how to use the modify tools to save you time. Which tool is the best tool to use? Now, could I do it where I copied it and rotated it? Absolutely. There's no right or wrong. That's the beauty of CAD. But we do want to try to be as efficient with our time as possible. So I'm going to grab this. We're going to do the mirror command. I want to mirror it according to the center of the table. Click and click. Erase source object? No. And there I've got a dining room table with dining room chairs placed evenly around. There is one more command that I wanted to go over with you guys that I just didn't get an opportunity to show you, and that is the extend command. So over here to the right, I'm just going to draw a line. And actually I am going to change to layer 0 so that you can actually see what we're drawing this time. So I'm going to erase that one. Draw a new line. There we go. And I'm going to draw a line right above it. Okay, so I want this line to go up here. Yes, I could grab the line and I could take the grip and I could move it up. There might be an instance where that's not as easy to do as you might think. So the extend command allows us to tell this line to meet this one. That is located underneath the trim button. If you click on that little arrow, you'll see that there's an extend button. The first thing it says is select the object to extend. So that would be this guy. And there it automatically knows to extend to something. Again, this command was hell. in previous versions, and they've really made it very simple for you guys. So I'm very excited that this works so much better. Just to show that again, I'm going to hit extend, and then it just says click on the object that you want to extend. I guess it's smart enough to know that I want to extend it that way. Now I'm curious to know if I clicked on it on this direction, yes. See how it ghosts it up here? But if I try to click on it while I'm down here, it does nothing. So you have to click in the area closest to where you're trying to extend the line. That's where the smart part of AutoCAD comes in. Click and you've extended. Well, I showed you some very basic commands to help you learn how to build your own furniture, how to modify them, and move them around so that you can arrange them. Again, the idea is that you take what you learned and start applying these techniques to design scenarios of your own. So soon you're going to start to see how easy it is to draw in AutoCAD. It really is. Just remember, it takes a little time and it takes a little practice. If you get discouraged, just try to break it down into steps. You're doing great so far, so let's see what else you can do, you super little learner, you.